just hit the subscribe button, the red button, underneath this video over to the right, and that'll sign you up on my YouTube channel. And then you can hit the small bell icon, so a little bell will go off and tell you each time I've started to broadcast a new one. I hope you enjoy it. In my book, 50 Shades of Politics, a collection of short autobiographic essays about my political career, my time with the Clintons, my work abroad, I tell the full story about how I faced off with, fought, and defeated the liberals on the White House staff when I worked for President Clinton. Clinton brought me in at the end of 1984 after the election because he lost the House and he lost the Senate because his policies had become so liberal. He told me I got so liberal I couldn't even recognize myself. And his staff was filled with liberals who kept pushing him to the left. And he brought me in largely to bring him back to the center. So I began to write speeches for him that did that, including one where he called for a middle-class tax cut, and the 1995 State of the Union that I wrote, and I wrote the line, "The era of big government is over," which is the most famous line of that speech, and then continued to work on trying to move him to the center. But it didn't work because the media wouldn't believe it. They treated all Democrats as the same and all Republicans as the same. And their narrative was that Republicans are pushing budget cuts and Democrats are opposing them. And Republicans want to balance the budget and Democrats don't really care. And in that debate, Clinton was never going to win because Americans wanted the budget to be balanced and the deficit to be curbed. But the left was continuing to fight that battle. So I sat down with President Clinton and we did the math, and he realized that he did not have to cut the programs people really cared about. I did a poll where I tested all of the various options in the budget and all the cuts the Republicans wanted. And I found that most of them were fine, but that the public really objected to cuts in Social Security, Medicare, Medicaid, education, or the environment. So I told Clinton those should be our priorities, and we should say that there is a path to balancing the budget without cutting those programs. You cut the Post Office and the Department of Transportation, the Department of Labor, the Department of State. You didn't need to cut these core fundamental programs that embodied our values. And Clinton kept saying that, but the media wouldn't cover it. And if he gave a speech that was 90% about balancing the budget and preserving these programs, but 1% or 10% was a jibe at Republican cuts in the school lunch program or food stamps, the media would say Clinton wraps Republican cuts, again lumping the Democrats together. I called it inky water. You'd prepare a really fresh glass of water and then put a drop of ink in it, and even though it was dissolved thoroughly in the water, you'd never drink it because it became inky water. So I urged the president to give a primetime address to the nation where he would outline his plan for balancing the budget without cutting these fundamental programs. And the liberals on the White House staff fought it like crazy. Stephanopoulos, Harold Ickes, Leon Panetta were aligned against it and battled like hell. They said that if we ever embraced the idea of any budget cuts, it would lead to embracing all budget cuts, and the Republicans would run the table on us. And I said that as long as you could stake a way to get to the objective, the balanced budget, that did not require these Republican cuts, but cuts that would not endanger our values, as we called it, the public would strongly support that. I called that concept triangulation. Get rid of the worst of the left and the right and combine to a third way that would broadly achieve the objectives that people wanted. We had a showdown meeting in the White House, and this is recounted in my book, 50 Shades of Politics. And it was kind of a debate between me and George Stephanopoulos, and the jury was Bill and Al Gore. And I went through my argument, he went through his, and we debated for over an hour at the White House. And then Gore said that he backed my view and that he felt that my view was right. And then Clinton turned to Panetta and said, "Leon, I've got to throw long." I'm way behind. I've got to throw long, the quarterback metaphor. I need to throw a bomb way downfield. And with that, he agreed to do the speech. He gave the speech. He realigned his administration on a course to achieve a balanced budget, which we did for 4 years, and developed a third way in American politics. It's a fascinating story, and one that really has relevance today when we can't seem to find our way to a third way, and we remain at these crazily polarized positions. So pick up the book. It's not a heavy lift. It's $13 for a paperback, $11 for a Kindle, not in bookstores, only at Amazon.com. But I think you'll find it a good read and very informative. Thanks for watching.